the sunshine outside. How about that?
Yes. Mine is good. I get as much as it as I can. Okay, I'm just making sure here. Okay, now and you have someone here with you too.
Yes, that's Mike.
Hello.
Hey,
Hello.
how you doing?
I'm good. How are you?
Doing well.
All right, so you know me, right? Red?
Oh, never met you before. No.
Uh,
Of course I know you.
This is Mike. We co-host the show together, and we've been working together for a long time.
Excellent. And now, how long has this show been going on?
Huh?
How long has your show been going on?
No, just literally. We started it in 2017. That's I had the idea. But we only did like a couple of episodes, and we got busy. We had going on, and so we ended up only recording 2 episodes. But we came back here last month, and we decided to redo it again. So we've been this is our 7th episode. No, 8th episode, basically.
Ooh, lucky 7. Yeah.
Yeah. So you wanna introduce yourself to people that don't know who you are?
What was that?
You wanna introduce yourself to people who wouldn't know who you are?
Oh, sure. I'm Kat Walters. I work in broadcasting on an FM radio station. I'm program director for 2 radio stations. I also teach broadcast communications at TC3. And that's pretty much my story. I'm sticking to it.
You've been working in the radio for a long time.
Yeah, I started in the business in 2003. I worked for a national public radio affiliate in the Adirondack region and a little north of that. And then I crossed over to commercial radio on the Canadian border. And then I'm originally from Long Island, so I was working my way to try to get a job there, but it's a bigger market, so harder to get into. And they accepted me here, and I never left because I love it. So 13 years I've been here.
How many stations have you worked in throughout the years?
Yeah. Let me think. 1, 2. There's 4 there, and then we currently have 10 stations at our company, which I help out with all of them, but I'm only a program director for 2. And so like 15 stations altogether.
Oh, wow.
In my lifetime. Yeah.
I didn't realize there were that many radio stations around here.
Yeah. In the age of post-consolidation, we talked about Red. Red was in my class many years ago. But, resources had to be combined. And so that's why you'll find many station clusters, as they're called, with 1 building and, like us, 10 stations.
Yeah. Do you ever see, for the last few years, you see internet radio and Spotify and all those apps that's going on and make it easier for people to actually listen to music. Do you ever think that at some point radio will just cease to exist and we'll just have these apps now that are going on?
Sure, that's a question often asked. A couple of things, and after this COVID situation, I feel like we've become more important. People realize the value in the local appeal, the local access, the local information, outreach, communication. But I've always said this, you might recall, it's free, it's accessible to pretty much anybody. You don't need an internet connection. And sometimes you want someone else to take the wheel, So when the COVID thing happened, I found out that we're considered emergency responders in our communities. So That's why it was considered essentially. And what I learned is, and I've always known this, but it's really come to the forefront in recent times, is local businesses are the backbone of our communities, right? And trying to locally source everything and not be so dependent on globalization. But in order for those local businesses to survive, we have to give them business, right? We have to utilize their products and services, and people know about those products and services because we air their messages. But we are interdependent on our local business. We want them to survive, and we are essentially mutually exclusive, so to speak. So on an economic level, on a community level, I don't feel that radio will go anywhere, and I actually feel that some people respect it and see the need for it more now than they may have in the past. Except for those who obviously were raised on radio,
right.
Internet.
That was going to be my point. Because we see, I think the demographic, since the younger people are using new technology more, do you feel like your audience are decreasing by the years, or is it something that young people are, again, any?
It doesn't seem to be that way. It doesn't, because we have now my demographic tends to be older people, my age and up. I finally made my demographic 40 now, so but I do have some listeners that are young and under 18. I have some that are 18 in their early 20s, even though that's not my demographic. So you go to one of our stations that is like hits, our hit station, Z95.5. That is their demographic, and they have no problem finding listeners. So I'm gonna say no. I mean, I don't think all of the young generation listens to radio, but I think they do more than they realize. Also, they might not even consider it. Oh, I guess I was listening to that in the car or whatever. It was on at so and so's business, or they don't realize maybe that they're listening to it. And another good thing for not just the younger generations, but everybody is having the internet to be able to talk to our listeners, to perhaps maybe say, hey, tune in at this time. They may have not thought about it, but we do have a presence on the internet, so that helps.
How do you target your demographic successfully? Like, how do you know where to find who's listening and all that stuff?
So I don't. It was already set up for me when I got in the business by generations, and you may find that this changes, but for now, because again, our goal is to support our businesses and get their messages out. So when we're trying to work with a business, name any business, just give me a business name.
Automotive.
Automotive. Let's talk about the Royal Motor Company right now. Obviously, who is buying cars? Think about the person who might be buying cars, right? There's a wide range of different people. It could be men from the ages of 40 to 100, It can be women from those ages. It could be somebody just getting their license, looking to buy a car. But what we try to do is say who has the spending power to make those decisions to buy the car. And we have a station to fit the demographic for that. So rock station, we have kind of a profile. You do essentially kind of profile people in radio. So you're saying, well, our target is men ages, 40 to 65. It doesn't mean that women don't listen to our station. It doesn't mean that young adults don't listen to the station. But when we're crafting messages for businesses, we have that kind of individual in mind on that particular station. Same thing with Light Rock 97.3 tends to be more targeted toward women. Again, does that mean that men don't listen? Absolutely not. My husband owns an auto repair shop, and one of his employees loves that station. So, it's just a tool, essentially, to help craft the messages for the businesses to get to who they want to buy from them. You see what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So I didn't come up with these demographics. They were already there when I joined the business. So, they have women, 40 to 65, men 40 to 65. We have an oldie station, which is going to, go from like 55 then to however long. We have the hit station. Again, that's for like the young adults and teenagers. So
how do they measure that? The demographics, like you said, because you just line them up 40, 65, and how it is something that they actually measure per listeners, or is it something that they just based on the songs they play, they think people will list these demographics?
So they're determined by the industry experts. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
They figure it out, and they've kind of just stuck to the same math essentially. So consultants, and they do these testing, music tests, and they compile the information to decide these demographics. And again, they've been around forever, or at least it seems that way to me. But then measuring who's listening, how do we do that? Well, the company I work for does not utilize ratings, but there are rating services like Nielsen. Have you ever heard of Nielsen?
Yes, I think I have. Yeah.
TV.
They do TV too, right? Don't they?
They do TV too.
Yeah.
And so what they'll do is pay somebody a little bit of money to document what they listen to and when. They have these things, these monitor things now that you can wear that will pick up like whatever they're listening to, which there's arguments over whether or not that's accurate. And the thing with the ratings is they're expensive. They're expensive to conduct for the company. And in order to utilize the ratings, which is essentially a sales tool, so that you could go to a business and say, hey, you want to advertise on our station because look, your target customer is what we attract, and look at, we're number one for our target audience in this market. But you cannot use those ratings results that are compiled unless you pay subscription for them. And they're expensive for radio stations to subscribe to. So my company decided we're just not going to do it. So, and we haven't needed to.
Just kept the same one to work with. And if it's working, you don't need to fix anything, right?
Exactly. And the proof is in the results. So if we get an advertiser, even if the advertiser is like a naysayer, like, hey, I don't believe in radio, I think it's stupid, or whatever they think, and we get them to, maybe we give them a little test run or something like that, and they realize people are coming through the door. This is working. So there's really no way to measure it exactly, but as a business owner, when you advertise and you see the results, what more do you need?
Right.
And then people come up to, I heard your ad on the radio, and oh, more people do listen to this. It does work. Oh, and it really does work. That's why I still do it, because I do believe in it. And I most certainly believe and support our local businesses to the highest extent. And I get to play music and talk to people and, be support and be supported.
I was going to say, you must have at this point, a dedicated fan that you hear from every week, or right? Like at this point, because if it's the same people listening in the area, to the local area, so you'd have a dedicated fans that tune in for you every day.
For me, they're like family,
Right.
and I think I'm that for them. I've become a companion to them. And it's, every weekday, 4 days a week, I do a thing called the 5 o'clock free-for-all. And it's a theme. Sometimes somebody suggests the theme idea, or I suggest it, and then they name songs. I compile a whole list and make sure I give everybody their, shout out to them, thank them for their request, and what we formulate a meaning, a deeper meaning with the music. And that's probably my most favorite thing to do, because I get to work with the people who are listening, and then they know that they're part of it. It's not just me dictating, I'm playing this, you're listening to that. And, that's my chance to work with them and create something. And that's amazing.
That's pretty cool. And that's something that you're not going to see on internet radio. If you listen to Spotify, nobody's going to be like, hey, what do you want to, let's just play a game. Let's pick up a theme. And I mean, I'm sure they have ones that are already created, but it's not.
Right. Yeah. This is a list generated. It takes time. I have notepads upon notepads, song themes and song names with who suggested it. And, it takes me a while to compile it. So, but it's worth it,
What's some, what's some of the artist names that you compile in your list? Like who are you guys listening to?
So on the radio station that I have the most on-air presence and that I'm a program director of is 99.9. It's I-100 Iconic Rock or classic rock, if you will. So that's like Led Zeppelin, Pink Floyd, the Rolling Stones, Jimi Hendrix, the list, Ozzy Osbourne, you know, all the rocker stuff, you know.
Yeah.
So that's the format. Sometimes I might break it a little bit, especially if I'm doing one of these themes I told you about. And a lot of people have asked for the same song. It's not something we typically play, but, you know, it's more important that we put together the meaning. So.
Yeah, I was gonna say, is it personally influenced or is it all requested? Like your songs?
Right. I mean, if I have a theme, let's say the theme is night, songs about night. Okay. I might get over 100 song names, suggestions, you know what I mean? I can't play them all. I have an hour to do it, you know? So what I try my best to do is pick the most popular ones that they've suggested. Like 10 people pick this one song. Okay, I'll play that one because a lot of people wanted to hear that one. And then sometimes I may not do it on popularity, but I do it because it fits with the meaning that's being generated, which just kind of comes to me as I take the notes and, you know, put the theme together. And like I said, sometimes listeners come up with an idea for a theme and I say, that's brilliant, let's do it. And I say, hey, you know, John and Ithaca said we should do a theme on being born, you know, rock songs about birth. Okay, guys, let's do it. And other people will come up with ideas and it's great. But again, I do that for 1 hour, you know, 4 days a week, because it is very time consuming to put together, but I love it.
And your show goes, what you said, from 11 to 5, right? Not including
11 to 6.
11 to 6. Okay,
11
so
to 6
what is your show conducted of? Just playing the music, and do you take calls before the 5 hour? Because you do the 5 hour, you said you take
Yep. So a lot of it is, you know, music and, you know, just announcements. And I do rock history. I have contests where I give away certificates. When we weren't in isolation, a lot of events, concert tickets, things like that, taking calls, winners, contests, all kinds of things. And then, you know, when the 5 o'clock hour comes, that's always for the theme. But so basically, you know, it's music, it's entertainment, it's connection.
Yeah.
With people.
Have you noticed the increase in people listening or interacting with you guys since March, since the COVID-19 hit hard in the area here? And what do you think about it? Do you think that's when something like this happens, does it bring people together more? Like radio would bring people together more? Is that what we saw happen in the last few months?
I feel that way. I can't say for sure if there's more people, but how do I put this? The types of people or the temperature of the people, or looking for a good word here. Because I can't say there's more or less people. I think there's different, because there's the people I had when they were working that maybe were put out of work because they had to stay home. So I probably lost some of them, but then there's some people who were working more, or maybe they were so isolated, they were tuning in for companionship. And before that they didn't, you know? So I might've had a change in some of the people, some of my core people, and they're not my people, but you know what I mean? The people who listen to us, stayed the same. And then I definitely felt, as you pointed out, I felt we were more connected, and definitely more connected and unified. And it was beautiful, because it was a very scary thing. And I'm going through it with everybody too. Yeah. And I'm doing it for the airwaves, you know, and it's an emotional roller coaster. I mean, I'd be in that studio when this first started, crying, you know, and then going on the microphone, trying to keep myself together, because, you know, this is an emotional roller coaster. So, but it was great to have the family. I feel like they're family, to go through it with them together, and we had each other's back, and we do have each other's back. And I just love people so much. So
I can tell. I mean, and we've known each other for a while. Like I said, like you said, I was in your class there, and you know, and that was one of the most enjoyable classes that I've had in college. So applaud you for the content you provide for the class, for the actual class. I was going to ask you this. You've been here for a long time, and you said that you found a home here and you got settled in. Since you became successful, have you thought about moving to a bigger city after your experience and success, just to get more opportunity somewhere else, or better pay or anything like that?
I ain't going anywhere.
No.
I'm not financially motivated anyway. I mean, I
Right.
have what I need. I have more. I'm very thankful. I have more than I need, honestly. I'm not rolling in it by any means, but I am comfortable, and I'm thankful for that. And that's more than I could have ever dreamed of. So as far as the money goes, as long as I can feed my son, and I'm very privileged, I feel, then I'm fine. I don't need more, you know. So the money would never take me out. And city, like, you know, I was raised in Long Island, which is beautiful, but as I grew up, and then I went to Potsdam to attend college, but I ended up living there after I stayed there and lived. But when I came back to Long Island, it's still beautiful, but they built so much stuff. I didn't even recognize where I was when I came back to visit a lot. It's overpopulated. I don't like that. It's too much head noise for me. So this is where it's at.
So what do you say to the people that are an area here that love radio and they want to be in the business? Do you think it's still more opportunities here, or should they migrate to a bigger city to try to get opportunities there?
Well, I always said, if you want to work in radio, move to some town you never heard of, because there's always going to be an opening. Because in smaller markets, and the smaller the market, the better the opportunity, because people use it as a building block for their career often. So they don't stay. Like, this is a medium market, so the work is there if you want it. And all you have to do, like I said, is go to a small town you never heard of, and
Right.
and give it a shot, because they're, you know, the people are, the turnover rate is high. And actually the last few times we've been looking to fulfill positions, we couldn't. So we've even had them here. Our news director for WHCU News, and then he directs the news for our station cluster, he will be leaving. So we'll be looking to fill that position. And the only other thing is, because of the COVID thing,
Right.
we had to put a pause on our part-time employees, and, you know, so we're not expanding like we were. But before this hit, we were looking for people, and we were having a hard time finding. And I was telling my students, actually, a former student of mine is working on hits Z95.5 right now, Sam, and she's also on Q Country. I think she attended class around the same year you did, but I don't think you were in the same class. You know, the work's there, and what's great about a community school, which I really like about Tompkins Community College, is that people are working with people who are actually in the industry. So
Right.
connections are made instantly, you know.
Have you seen? So you said you've been teaching classes in TC3. Have you seen anybody that's went through your class that became successful, and do you still having contacts with people like that went through your class?
Yeah, there's probably too many to name. You know, some of the people in my class didn't want to really stick with radio, but some of them did. Some of them started podcasts. Some of them do movies, and some of them work for my company and then moved on. Some of them are currently working for the company that I've worked for, and so yeah, absolutely. You know, the radio industry, it's not for everybody, and it can be a tough run, but the company that I work for is a very good company. They're called Saga Broadcasting. Ed Christian is a smart person, and he runs things ethically. So some of the other radio conglomerates, if you will, aren't so worried about that, let's just say. So I'm proud to be part of the company that I work for, because they do their best to do right by us. They care about their employees, and they try to keep live people in their communities.
Yeah.
You know, just a computer program or somebody from another state pretending to be here, you know.
okay, so you insinuated that there are some companies that do stuff that are not ethical, right? So what without naming, saying
Oh
any
yeah.
names here,
Oh yeah. I'm not a slinger.
yeah,
You know what?
without saying the
I
one
wouldn't
names,
even dare.
what
Just
are some of the tactics that people use to that you were referring to?
well, the dollar is king, right? So I mean, they're very worried. I mean, obviously we have to be worried about it to an extent in order to survive, but so worried about it, they fire people left and right. They're not worried about keeping localized in the community. They might have stations in a community, but there's no actual person from the community who's on the air. Cutting corners like that.
They're not really a community radio. It's just pretending to be. Is that the idea?
Yeah, they're happy to make revenue. They'll have community members selling the radio station, but there's no actual local content on the station.
Right.
And it shows, but what differentiates us is the fact that you'll hear me on the radio and you'll see me on the street. And we could talk about stuff. I'm here. I'm real. I think like that, right? So, and some of those stations, that's just not possible.
What are some advices you give to somebody who's going to radio right now in these crazy times?
Advice for anybody right now in any field. I mean, I just look inside yourself, and this is for anybody, and figure out what it is you have to offer the world, and how you can make that work for you, and how you can make it work for the world. But it's all the answers are in here. So I at this point, my world got rocked in a way. All of our worlds did.
Right.
The whole world is changed. So I'm still assessing myself. I don't necessarily know if I'm in a position to give advice because I'm still figuring things out myself. To be honest. It's okay not to know.
Yeah.
What would you do if you weren't doing radio?
Oh yeah, I thought, well, maybe I'd do more teaching. I would maybe work for dispatch. I do have some training. I did have my EMT license. It has since expired, but I have some training there. I cleaned houses, I landscape, I worked in the restaurant industry, whatever I have to do, I guess,
Yeah, I was going to ask, what's some of the other jobs that you've had, or what's your favorite job you've ever had?
The one I have now, is my favorite job. And yeah, like I said, I worked at delis in Long Island where I was short order cooking. I waitressed. I cleaned houses. What else? I did catering. I was a manager for that. And then I entered into the radio field, which was just a happy accident to begin with. But when I realized it, I was like, duh, of course that's what I want to do. Like, it just happened for me. Because I have so many interests and things. I was the type of person that in college I was trying to major in like 3 different things, and then it was too much. I put too much on my plate and didn't know what I wanted to do, and I ended up in radio on accident because someone said, "Oh, you have a nice speaking voice. The public radio station is looking for a part-time announcer. You should apply." I applied. I got the job, and the rest was history.
Do you think those jobs that you've had helped shape the way you perform on a radio? Like this, being a good salesman or being a good waitress, did that help as far as interacting with people or just your show in general?
Yeah, I was always a hard worker, so I think that's kept me modest. And I'm not a salesperson, though, I'll tell you that much. And there are people who work for our company that do go out and get the businesses to advertise with us. They're wonderful. They're account executives, and I could not do their job. It's very hard work, and I don't like rejection. I mean, if I'm on the radio and maybe you're saying, that Cat Walters, she sucks. At least I can't hear you. So I'm not a salesperson, but I have worked many hard labor jobs, and I think that's kept me modest and, you know, caring and understanding of my demographics, because a lot of the people who listen to our stations are very hardworking people. So I understand, you know.
Yeah. Do you guys do any live shows? I know some radio shows will go, some radio will go to like festivals and stuff like that, and actually do live shows. Have you ever done that before in the area?
Gee, have I done that? As far as like me recording like a concert live and being like, hey, I'm at the, you know, Rush concert, woohoo! No, I haven't done anything like that. We've done things on a smaller scale. We've had artists in the studio, and we did a studio performance and an interview.
That's cool.
With a video, and that was really cool. But I don't really like big crowds anyway. I never have. It's too much for me. So a lot of people find that shocking about me. Like, oh, don't you want to go to this big concert with, you know, thousands of people? No, thank you. I'll watch it later, or I'll listen to the recording, and I love musicians and I want to support them, and that's how they make money. So I understand that, but it's not for me. It's too many people. I've been to some concerts, but I definitely much prefer smaller, intimate settings.
That's cool. Have you guys thought about moving, or not necessarily moving, but blending like internet radio with your show? That way you can just play a lot of the stuff online instead of just having this on the waves.
So a lot of our radio stations were streaming and do stream online.
Yes. Yes.
So if you go to our website, you can click listen live. But here's the problem. We have to pay double royalty fees. So we're already paying our royalty fees to play the music over the airwaves. You have to pay them again for the internet stream. So it's expensive. If you're a music station, it's expensive to do that. So we realized that mostly we are terrestrial radio, right? We're FM AM band. That's where our eggs are in that basket. So, and we did do some research looking into internet listening for some of the stations that had it. Now my station doesn't. We did a very long time ago. I haven't had it since. But the stations that did, the music stations, we realized the people listening are in our community. You know, because you can look at those numbers, right? You can check out the geocaching and see who's listening and where, the streaming numbers. Barely any of it was from our actual community, which is what we care about the most. So why are we going to spend all this money so that people across the country can listen to us? We love the fact that they like us. That's great. Maybe they were from here and that's their connection to the community. But radio is not extremely wealthy industry, right? We're not Apple, you know, so we can't afford to pay these double royalties for that, unfortunately. So yeah, we've considered it, and you know, we have things like we could do a little Facebook Live, or now there's this. So yesterday I got on this Zoom with a friend and did some experimenting. This is cool. You know, there's lots of avenues that we can supplement what we do on the air, but as far as putting our stuff on the internet, streaming, you'll probably see less of that from terrestrial radio because it's expensive.
What kind of shows that your radio does beside? Do you have like any other shows beside the ones beside your show where you play the music and stuff? Do you have anything else that would grab attention of people? Or?
Yeah. So in the morning we have a syndicated show, and it's a comedy show, Bob and Tom in the Morning. It's pretty popular. A lot of stations carry it across the country. They've been around for a while. They have different comedians and things like that on the show. It's not for everybody. Some people don't like it because they want to hear music in the morning. But some people like it because it's comedy. It's a break from heavy things. And so that's on in the morning show. That's 6 to 10 in the morning. And then from 10 to 11, it's music, just music. Then my show is the work shift show from 11 to 6. Then on evenings, we have something called the Rock and Roll Hot Tub, which is really essentially mostly just music, but we have a a personality on there who is in his hot tub and making observations, you know, and we have a sponsor, which is Hesselson's, a hot tub company who sponsors that. Overnight, we have the third shift, and we do like shout outs to businesses that work overnight. And then on the weekends, we have a show called Time Warp on Sunday mornings. It's 4 hours. They focus on certain years, and they do like events in history in this year, and it's cool. It's essentially a time warp. Live in concert on Saturday nights, which is great because people can't go to live shows right now. So we're bringing them live music from legendary shows that have already happened. So for I-100 particularly, that's what we have. Before COVID, we had Billy Galicki. I don't know if you know him. He's a musician.
Yeah, I know Billy.
Yeah. So he was our Saturday night guy. He was on from 5 to 9. And he would fill in for me when I would take time off. Just a really energetic personality, a good dude, you know. Unfortunately, because of the COVID stuff, we had to, you know, just give it a rest for a little bit, but we're hoping to bring him back as soon as we can.
Yeah, I was gonna say that now that their phases we're in phase 3 now, right? Is that where we are?
I think we're in like phase 2, heading towards 3 at this point.
Okay.
Right? Yeah.
So when do you think if we get to phase 4 is the last one? Am I right? Is that what they said?
It's phase 3 or 4. You know, I don't know. The story changes all the time. I lose track.
Yeah. They keep changing that.
One day it's that, you know. So.
Do you think after we get to the point where things starting to go back to normal and we're always gonna be careful about masks and all that stuff for a long time, but do you think that will drive your station and other radio stations around here to start hiring people back and getting back to normal? Or is that something that your company is planning?
That's what we want. Yeah.
What you guys want?
That's absolutely what we want, 100%. So as soon as we can, we will.
So if a company wants to advertise with you guys, who would they contact? Is it something that they go to the website, and is it like a company that takes over and they do the like the ads and all that stuff, or is it something that, how does that work?
Sure. You know, there's many ways to reach us. You can go to our website and find contact information and call any of the numbers there. You can hit me up on Facebook and say, Kat, I'm interested. Then I put you in touch with an account executive. Sometimes account executive will come see you and ask you if you want to advertise. So it's on here, guys. There. All right. So yeah, it should, hopefully it's pretty easy, you know, between the website and how accessible we are on the internet, you know, with the Facebooks and Twitters and Instagrams. I mean, if any business at any time could, and I've had it happen. I have it happen all the time. Hey, Kat, you know, what would it cost if I wanted to do? And I can tell you this too, a lot of businesses think it's like, it's going to be really expensive, and they realize you don't need to have that much of investment to do a small advertising schedule. And when you do one, a lot of times they figure out it really works, and they get more people through the door, so they start making a little more money, which is good, right? And then they say, okay, well, let's keep the advertising going. So, you know, but it's not astronomical. It doesn't cost, like, it's not like cable TV or anything like that.
Right.
It's affordable.
That's pretty good. I've to be honest, I haven't listened to actual radio in a long time. And I feel like that it's just my opinion. I don't have any data or anything, but anybody that I talk to do not listen to radio in a way. What do you think that radio should do to actually get young people out and listen more to traditional radio?
Yeah, well, I do think some things might have to change, and I have to be careful with what I say here.
In your opinion, it's just your opinion.
I just think that you know, we may want to look at the way things have been done and have always been done, and maybe not do it that way anymore.
Yeah.
Or something different. And because it is a great avenue. It's a great what's the word I'm looking for?
Outlet, maybe.
Yeah, it's a great
platform.
Thank you. That's the word. for. Ding, ding, ding. It's a great platform. It has so much potential. It is directly dependent on the community and the people, and it's a great tool. So there's lots of possibilities with it, and it has great potential to be extremely impactful in a time where we might be wanting to make some changes. So I don't know if you can do that with Spotify, but so I feel people should keep that in mind, that radio, they're there for you.
Right.
We build ourselves around you. So all you got to do is tune in.
Do you think the age of podcasts, right? Like everywhere you go, there's somebody like us wants to and just talk about anything. Do you think censorship in radio would be is one of part of the things that are hindering as far as young people tuning in? Because if you listen to a lot of podcasts, they don't have any restrictions as far as what people can say, what music they can play.
Right.
Is that something that you think radio is a negative part of radio that you have to censor a lot of things?
I think some of the format designs might want to be looked at as far as music. As far as censorship otherwise, I don't feel the need to drop an F-bomb to get my point across. So that doesn't
not necessarily an F-bomb, just like the topics that are discussed over radio. Or
yeah, sure. Well, I mean, I don't know if you've ever listened to any talk radio, but they're not necessarily censored, or if you listen to things kind of lightened up, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
But with the temperature of everybody right now, and the divisions, left, right, blue, red, up, down, left, right, it's just, okay. But with all that, we have to be careful because you might say something completely neutral, but the person listening is going to hear it the way, whatever their paradigm is how they're taking it in. So we have to be very careful. But that's on any outlet. That's not just on.
Yeah, that's everybody. Yeah, right.
So other than that, I don't really feel like there is. Now we're encouraged. I'm on a music station. I want you to come to me to find some meaning. We're gonna take some music. We're gonna create some meaning in the music. We're gonna get together. We're gonna focus on the positive things and more of the things that we have in common, rather than the things that break us apart.
Right.
So I don't get political. I don't take sides. That's me anyway. But our company really encourages us not to do that. That's you can do that. We're here to support you without going there.
Right. No, I get you. And that's the thing, because we've been talking. I haven't really thought about radio that way. The way I'm talking to you now is just that it makes so much sense. It's free, like you said, and now like even if you use Spotify, use Apple Music, any of those, you still have to pay to listen to all that stuff, right? So it's, like I said, it's free, and anybody can listen to it anywhere. You know what I mean? It's not. You don't have to have internet, like you said, to actual data or anything like that to listen to it. So I think in paper, you think young people would listen to it. You know what I mean? Just from a lot of positivities, a lot of things that you would pay money for to do, you can do it for free. I really want this to change. I really want people to actually listen to it. Even me, I don't really listen to radio, but now I'm trying to find. I would now try to find the actual shows I would listen to just to support. Do you think, like you said, you think that the format should change, right? Like
some of the formats and the designs of things, I think need to change.
Right.
People get tired of the repetition. People want to hear deeper things.
Right.
I've been in the business long enough that I really do feel that that's something that should be looked at least having an honest conversation about. I know this is how we've always done it, but why don't we why do we have to keep doing it that way? Maybe it's time to grow, just like we're all growing, right? Spiritually and inside ourselves with everything around us. Well, the industry has to grow too.
How come you guys have some cool show names? The guy, what's the one with the hot tub?
Rock and roll hot
Yeah.
tub.
That's just amazing. That's just gonna stick in my head. Rock and roll hot
Oh
tub.
yeah, it's funny, you know. And a lot. We are about the music, you know, mostly. But
Are there
yeah,
any talk shows in the area that are good? Not necessarily about politics or anything, just
right.
something
Well,
fun or something that the young people will listen to or want to listen to that people don't know about in the area.
yeah. I'm trying to think about that. Well, as far as talk shows go, I mean, our AM stations are full of all kinds of talk shows, and but there a lot of them are syndicated. You know, our news station is very focused on local news and getting that out there. So maybe this is something we should be having a conversation about. You know what I mean? Maybe this is something. But we have, you know, our personalities talk, and then they play music, but they're not strictly talk news. You know, talk shows.
Right.
Like I said, the Bob and Tom show in the morning.
Not necessarily about politics or anything. Just, for instance, entertainment. If you want to talk just about entertainment, talk show,
Yeah.
just about what's coming out next week or next year, or you know, just stuff like that, just to get people informed.
Well, yeah, most of our personalities. I mean, you know, the people on our airwaves do that. You know, we talk about those things. We just don't do it. Well, it's not just talk. You know,
Right. You
put
talk a little bit and play music and.
Yeah, but we address, you know, we do bring up topics and we tell stories and we, you know, we're your friend. We have conversation with you, you know.
That's cool. What's some of the funny stuff that happened over radio the last few years you worked in?
Funniest stuff. Oh boy. There's a lot. I've got a lot of funny people that call in, you know, and do funny things. I got my Wild Bill from South Hill in Ithaca, you know. I got my one friend, the guy calls me all the time, Jonesy, and he'll always say, obviously you can't see me, but your hair looks good today, you know, or I like those shoes, or, you know, things like that. Just everybody, they're funny, you know, everybody's, I don't know. But as far as like, oh my God, this one funny thing happened, man, you put me on the spot.
If it's not funny, how about embarrassing? Something that's something that embarrassed you a little bit, even if it's like the first year you worked in radio, just something that stuck in your mind that you never forget.
Yeah, when I started in public radio, my Achilles heel is that I sometimes flip the two middle letters in a word. So like, let's say, I don't know, you have the word best, right? So I might flip the E and the S, and like, that's just, it's sort of like a little bit of a dyslexia, but sometimes when, you know, I rip and read, I can stumble on myself. But I studied French. So when I worked for NPR, there was a story about a brigadier. You know what a brigadier is? It's like a military general, kind of.
Okay.
Right? It's a word for, but I said, I pronounced it stupid, like, I don't know what I don't even remember what I said, but it was not right. My boss called me up and was like, you do know that it's brigadier, right? And I'm like, oops, I think I said, you know, brigadier or something, because I studied French for so long that I was pronouncing it completely wrong. You know, a lot of bad pronunciations. This is kind of this is really embarrassing, especially because I've been there. Okay, do you remember when the cathedral in France?
Yes. Yeah. The burnt down, right?
And I've been to that site. I've been there. Okay. I see that there's a fire, and I'm reporting that the cathedral is on fire.
Oh no.
Why would I do that? I know the word cathedral, right? I don't know why I was saying cathedral. What? So somebody wrote me and was like, I didn't know what you're talking about, and I realized you're talking about the cathedral, and I'm like, oh my God, what did I say? And he told me, and I'm like, I don't know. I guess maybe I was upset or worried, and I just, what was in here didn't come out here. It happens. I have that. I mean, it's gotten better over the years, but I have a lot of those where something doesn't click. So what comes out of my mouth doesn't match what I'm reading.
That is always my concern, because English is not my first language. So like every time I say anything, I have to like be really careful, especially if it's a word I don't say a lot, to actually pronounce it right. Because if I don't, yeah, I'm not gonna notice until I'm like, oh my god, what the hell did I say? Well, and like you said, it's people that are talking already will I don't know how you guys do it because that will.
We don't always. That's
I always feel nervous. I'm like, I'm gonna mess this up today.
Yep, and sometimes people we're only human, so we make mistakes, and that's okay. I try to correct it when and I'm not afraid to be called out. It's helpful because how am I gonna know that I made a mistake? No one lets me know, So and I just do the best I can, and that's it. Some people get a kick out of it too because it reminds them that you're human,
Right. I mean, I'm pretty sure nobody's gonna be like, "Oh my god, why did she?" Everybody's gonna laugh about it and think it's kind of funny and just move on, right? It's not.
Yeah. Even the guy who had corrected me with Cathedral, and I was like, I'm so humiliated. I was even there, How could I not? How did I do that? He was great. Oh man, hey, it happens to everybody. Well, maybe not that, but things happen, I don't know what possessed me to say that, but
That's pretty funny. Let's see. I was gonna ask you.
Or when you have the mic on and you don't know it's on. Oh, you better be careful. Fired over that.
Oh man.
Has that ever happened to you?
Oh yeah. I mean, luckily I wasn't saying anything bad, but so sometimes when I'm doing my show, I also have to voice an ad.
Yeah.
I also do for our company. I'm like the big voice for a format called Easy FM. So I'm the Easy FM voice. You're listening to Easy FM. So I'll get these scripts that I've got to read and send off to these other stations. And so let's say I have some time on my hands. There's some songs playing or whatever, and I'm going to record these scripts. So it's the same mic I'm using in the same studio, but I have to make sure that I'm on audition and not and take that power button off. Sometimes if I don't do that, oops.
What is something that's funny you said to that, or like, ooh, I should not have said that when this is on? What is something that you said?
Nothing really. It's or if I'm reading an ad, and it's like Rotten Cycle Center, and there's a song playing, and I'm talking over it, and it's like, what? Huh? What's going on? Ad, what are you doing? Oops.
That's pretty funny.
Oh, one time I recorded a song. Okay, so I was doing a 5 o'clock free-for-all, and I had to dub in a song that I didn't have as part of my normal playlist. And somehow, after I recorded it into the system, when I was saving it, I must have hit the reverse button.
Okay.
So the song is playing backwards. I go into I didn't know. And I intro the song, it starts playing. I left the studio to do something. I come back in and it's playing backwards. And I'm like, oh, whoops. So I had to flip it over and I was like, okay, let me try that again. Here's the song played the correct way. Silly things happen.
Have you guys tried to include social media in your shows at all? I know you have Facebook pages and stuff like that. Like, have you ever tried to like go live while you're doing stuff on the air? Just
yeah,
to see you, interact with you. You guys do that?
I've done it a couple of times. The problem is it's just me in the studio. So I can't record, take the notes, set up the hour, and talk to people at the same time while I'm trying to put together the show. You know what I mean? It's
yeah.
If I help, like the couple of times I did do it, I had Billy in with me, and that was great because I was able to make the stuff happen over the air, and he was able to talk to the people on the live. You know what I mean? Because I can't do both at the same time. And I mean, I guess technically I could just put the live on, but I don't think it'd be fun just watching me go like this and try to put stuff together and taking notes and stuff. But yeah, that's something that I have been wanting to do more of though. So I'm just trying to find out a way to do that.
I think that would definitely bring more people in, especially younger people. If they can see, I know it's weird, but for some reason young people want to see and hear at the same time. They don't want to just listen. So I think doing that will definitely increase your viewership with young people. Because just pull up your Facebook or Instagram or whatever and just pull it up there. Oh, it's live. and they can just
Mhm.
go through there and watch it instead of just listen to it through, just through the waves. So maybe that's something that you could pitch into people to the.
Yeah.
the
Oh, maybe it's something I would do, even if it was just once a week or something. I don't
yeah.
know. Yeah.
Maybe
It's
in
just
that you say
sometimes I'm like, I want people to see me. That's why I have a face for radio. That's why I'm on radio.
I said that maybe that the 5 o'clock is it free for all? Is that what you call it?
Yep.
Maybe that would be a good way to actually like put it there. That way it's because that's the one where people give your suggestions, right?
Yes,
Live
but so the
suggestion.
reason I don't do that is because, again, I put the theme up like earlier in the day.
Oh,
and,
so like throughout the day people submit stuff and
and then I have and I'm writing down names and song names and people, and I'm trying to compile the list and figure out what songs I'm going to play for that hour and trying to set that up. So if I tried to do that live, it would be too much. You know what I mean?
gotcha. Yeah.
To make it meaningful, I guess, sometimes the stuff people ask for I don't have, so I have to, it's like if I was like, hey, what do you want to hear, and somebody asked for this one song and like 10 people asked for the song, I don't have it, I got to go get it. I don't have time to do that if you guys are on live with me, and then if I don't want to not deliver. So
Maybe it could be just a discussion because you said you discussed the actual theme and the songs and
yeah
stuff like that, right? So you can have pile up the list already, and then you have what are you gonna play, and then once the song starts, it'll be like a live discussion about the song.
that's maybe I'm not taking the request then, and I'm just doing the actual,
Right. So it'll be just like interaction with the community and be like
Mhm.
a big party, basically, like a virtual big party.
The other reason, and I actually have to ask like our lawyer about this. I don't know what the rules are about broadcasting our music over the Facebook Live. So that is also something else that I'm not sure what the rules are. So like, let's say I got the Facebook Live on and you can hear my music playing in the studio, but it's over Facebook. Are there copyright rule? I don't know how that works.
I've seen
And
people that stream stuff like that, like DJs that actually like spin stuff live on Facebook and Instagram. Like I don't believe they're paying any royalties for those.
Mhm.
But
Well, we
I mean, it's
be
since
careful.
you guys are a radio station, that could be different.
That's exactly what I don't know, but that is something I can ask we have, our corporate office, we have a lawyer, so that's something I can ask and they can find out for me about that. Otherwise, maybe I just have a separate conversation without the music or something, like you said, a topical thing where I talk to people.
Yeah.
It's like, that's why, as you can see, there's a lot of different reasons why I'm like, I don't know how to make it fit, like,
Yeah.
but
Yeah.
I definitely want to start doing it because you're not the only one who's suggested that, so I'll probably figure something out.
Yeah. Okay. If people want to find you, where would you find you and your station?
Yeah. So the website is i100rocks.com. So it's the letter I, the number 100, rocks.com. On Facebook, you look me up under Kat Walters. It's Kat with a K, K-A-T, Kat Walters. And it's a public page. Everybody's welcome. We do have an I100 Twitter page, and we also have a I100 Facebook page. And no, buddy, don't come. I'm doing a live video thing. I don't think you want to be. You want to be on a live video? This is my dog, Luna. Hi, baby. This is my son, Tristan.
Hello.
Hi.
How's it going, Tristan?
Hi.
So yeah, we're I100's on Facebook and Twitter, and there's Instagram. I'm on I100cat. That's where you can find me. And like I said, the website i100rocks.com or Kat Walters on Facebook. All the social medias, all the interwebs.
So is Monday through Saturday?
Yeah, it's Monday through Saturday, 11 a.m. to 6 p.m.
6 p.m.
Except Saturday, it's 5 p.m.
Okay. Good. Mike, do you have any questions for Kat?
Yeah, Kat, if you could play one song that sums up the times we're living in, what song would that be?
Great question. There's been a lot that have brought me to tears. So picking one is hard.
You could go with a couple.
Yeah, some of the ones that spoke to me. Somebody had requested "The Show Must Go On" by Queen. I don't know if you've ever heard of it.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, it's a good song.
So when we did a theme, and I think I was just asking people like, "How are you feeling?" Or we did a tribute to essential workers or something. This is like in March, and somebody requested that song, and like when this all happened, all music, everything took on a new meaning to me. Maybe you too. You know, everything means something else now. You know, the words to that song, like they're talking about, he's singing about empty places and empty spaces, you know, and what is all this for? The show must go on, you know. And it just gave me chills. And when I played that, that song was playing and I was crying when the mic was off. I was literally crying, like, oh my God. A lot of Bob Marley Exodus lately, but that's me personally. Jimi Hendrix, with, you know, All Along the Watchtower, Purple Haze, you know, stuff like that. Black Sabbath, War Pigs. Yeah, so there's a lot. In the Light by Led Zeppelin. Look at the lyrics to that. It's pretty cool.
I'm going to write that down.
Pink Floyd, Shine On You Crazy Diamonds is incredible. Yeah. So those are some songs that stick out in my mind. But, you know, honestly, I feel like all of them, even Queen's Keep Yourself Alive, right?
Yeah.
And there's probably more but those are the ones that just came up to mind. Yeah. Pretty much anything. Grateful Dead. Yeah, there's a lot of that I've been playing that, you know, people were asking for, and you just listen to it through a different lens, if you will. I mean, you don't listen through a lens, but I'm just speaking metaphor. Yeah. You know, everything, you hear it through a different paradigm is probably a better word. I re-listening to everything, because you hear these songs, especially working in the industry, I hear these songs thousands upon thousands of times, but I feel like I have to get to know them again because I lost the meaning.
Right.
And they all mean something else now, you know.
Do you guys play any local music at all? Because there are a lot of rock bands around here.
I had a local music show.
How do you go about that? How do you go about
it? It was the Homemade Jam, it was called. The Facebook page is still there. We had podcasts of it, and it aired on the Vine. And I think we aired it on Sundays on I-100 too. It was just an hour-long show, but we did it once a week. And Jim Catt kind of collected, because he's always out there, you know, reviewing bands, and he's really great with that stuff. And then we put the show together. But the problem was we couldn't get anybody to support it, so we couldn't afford to keep it going.
Like advertisement and stuff? Nobody would?
No, you know, the venues, the music stores, nothing. Nobody wanted to. And it costs money to produce, you know. I mean, yeah, I put a lot of work into that. And of course we, you know, deservingly so, needed to pay Jim, and we were hoping some of the venues that have these great local musicians would maybe want to support it, but they didn't want to.
Even like local musicians and rock bands, if they want to submit their music, like let's say just singles and stuff like that, like can they submit them to you and you'll be able to play them, or is it something that a format
they used
already
to when I had a jam, but I can't play it, because what happens is you get the favorite child syndrome. If I play one, I've got to play everybody's, and then I get people mad at me. So I don't play a lot of local music at this point on I-100. Now there is some local music on the Vine that we play, and just put it in rotation. And the Vine is it's a smaller metro station, so it really only reaches Ithaca area and some of the outskirts. The other problem is, you know, for I-100, we are a classic rock format essentially. So, you know, we don't rotate a bunch of new stuff in. I believe Z95.5 sometimes will play some local music as well. Q Country has on occasion. I know Chris Allender does like a local thing around Christmas time and things like that. So we put it in there here and there, but you have to be careful because if I'm going to play one, I want to play them all. You know what I mean?
Right.
And I want to be fair to everybody. So I don't want to show favoritism. So that's another thing that I think needs to be looked at.
You're gonna say maybe that's one of the ways, because to think about a lot of the rock bands around here are young people, right?
Oh, we got a lot of great musicians.
Yeah, so that'd be a good way to bring some younger people to listen to stations, not necessarily yours, because yours you said that's classic, but I'm sure you can.
Yeah, but we had the homemade jam on I-100 on Sundays, and it was cool because some of the people were like, hey, cool, I'm going to be on the radio. So they would tune in to listen to that, you know, their bands, or they get their fans to tune in and listen, things like that. And we did that show for several years. We did have some sponsors that kept it going for a while, but then it just kind of, we lost the support. I know WVBR, and they're not one of our, you know, Cayuga Radio Group stations, but I know they have, I think they do pretty good local coverage. So I give them props for that for sure.
Cool.
They do interviews. I think they do Tuesdays with the band. Do you know VBR?
VBR? No, I don't know.
WVBR? Okay, yeah. They're in Ithaca. They're like in downtown Ithaca, and they're cool. They have they don't have as many format restrictions. They're a little more free with, you know, like, again, I'm in a rock box essentially, right?
Yeah.
You know, we've got rock station, we've got our country station, we've got our, you know, the hit station, we have our light rock, and we stick in our formats. We color inside the lines, and that's fine. That's fine. But VBR kind of has a few different formats. They're all over the map.
So they have more. They can experiment more with other music. Is what you're saying?
Yeah, they can, and they're kind of a different animal because I'm not sure how it works, but I think that they have some funding from the college. So they're not a college station, but they are somewhat funded by them. So they're not like we directly rely on working with local businesses. And VBR does too, to an extent, but they also have some funding from the college, I believe. Not sure. But just a different animal, you know?
Yeah, that's good.
Cool nonetheless.
That's good, because that would be a start, like you said, to talk about it and see if we can make this bigger in the area. Not necessarily bigger all over, but bigger in the area as far, so you have more support, more people tuning in to listening.
Well, that's it. Sorry, I thought my dog was running away. Come on, not too far, honey. Come on over here. So one big thing, and I was saying this before, you know, the COVID thing hit. A lot of people get very upset and angry about issues that are like up here on a national level. They don't like the president. They don't like, you know, the stuff happening here. And they get frustrated because they can't really change it, right? I mean, they can vote and hope that it works, right? Other than that, how much can you really do about up here? You and me. What can I do? I can call and send letters to whoever, government officials. Where's it going to go? You know, Hey, it doesn't hurt to try. I'm not saying don't try, but if you really want to make change in the world, you got to start here, right? And then work directly around you and then push out that way. You can't start from here. You can't just jump up here and say, change this, and then it's going to change. It doesn't work. So being involved, ooh, a dragonfly. You can only try to make change happen through your own community, first within you, in your home, in your neighborhood, in your town, in your county, in your state, right? But you got to kind of radiate this way to make change happen. And I do feel that radio can be a part of helping that to happen, because we are embedded in the fabric of our local communities if we're being run correctly, you know, like our company tries to keep us very much embedded in our communities, which I love. So radio can be a part of that, you know, and I think podcasts are great though. I really do. there's so much great stuff out there. That's the other thing. There's so many choices, and there's so many.
Yeah.
Even I get overwhelmed. I'm like, I can't possibly take all of this in, So
Right.
what people do, I think, is just certain things speak to them at certain times, and you follow that, right?
Yeah. Well, that's the thing. Like you said, times have changed. Last 20 years, I would say, technology have changed, entertainment have changed. So we're all gonna adapt, and I think radio, at this point, has to adapt if they want to stay relevant with the young people. Because if you think about it, here in 10 years, people that are young now will get a little older, and that's when you need to be right there with them, or you're gonna lose them.
Right.
Even when they're
But
old.
To counterpoint that as well, though, we don't want to necessarily reinvent the wheel. Like, I remember when we were getting pressure a lot to be on the internet and social networks and stuff like that, and one of my bosses on the corporate level said, don't forget though, our main business is on our FM and AM. That is what we need to focus on. What we're doing that is our avenue. That is what we do.
Right.
We're not an internet radio station. So yes, we can use the internet to supplement things that we do, but don't forget who we are, and let that shine. You don't have to, don't change that. We don't have to reinvent the wheel. It's there already. We just need to keep shining the light,
That's a great way to look at it, because you don't want to become an internet radio, or just because they already have venues like that. You already have Spotify, you already have all those.
You'll get lost.
Right.
Yeah.
So you want to stay in your lane, but upgrade how you want to do stuff, and find different angles to actually for people to listen to.
Yep.
Yeah.
And I think staying relevant, sometimes it doesn't have to be so complicated. Sometimes it's about being sincere and being authentic, and maybe not everybody's going to listen to radio, but there are plenty that do, and those are the people that I speak to. I don't want to sit there and try so hard to pull these people.
Yeah.
We're here. You'll come to us when you're ready, And if you don't want to come to us, that's okay. You can go over there, and I'll be over here. If you need anything, you know where to find me,
Well, I appreciate you taking the time to speak with us. I really, really appreciate it. And definitely because part of it, too, is people don't understand how radio works, too. Like, get in your car and turn the radio, and once you get out of the car, you don't even think about it. To the fact that you see how embedded in the community, like you said, and you're trying to help businesses. The fact that you guys were essential workers in this pandemic, it just shows you how needed the entertainment is, especially over the radio, because like you said, it's free. People can listen to it at home and just takes them off all these sadness and crazy times around us.
Yeah, like we donated our sports station frequency to the test site in Tompkins County, which is at the shops at the mall. So if you tune into our what would normally be our sports station, it's all the directions, the audio directions on what to do at the test site. So pull up, just it'll say you're at the test site, pull up, roll down your window, do this, do that. It has all the protocol. That's all it is. It's for people to just tune in, so they don't have to get out of their cars and wonder what the heck to do. So we donated that, and then like we did a thing called Fruity Flash Mob for all the restaurants who we knew were going to take a big hit, that were still offering to go and take out and things like that, and it didn't cost a thing. We just said, okay, today's Fruity Flash Mob is from this restaurant. This is what they're doing. Go give them some business. Go get yourself some food. We still got to eat, We did a stimulus package contest where we gave one business $20,000 of advertising. We also just gave some of our loyal customers just a little boost with some free, advertising to help them in this hard time.
Yeah, guys, you need to tune in to these stations and listen to them right now. This is crazy.
Well, we're here for you. We're here for our community, for the businesses, and if that's something you want to be a part of, then tune in. And some people, the commercials. Well, the commercials are our community. They're the people helping to run this community, and they're people who are raising families here and the fabric of our community. So.
And that's how you guys live. I mean, how would you pay all the staff if you don't have advertisement?
Right. We're mutually exclusive.
Yeah.
You know?
I mean, you listen to YouTube, there's advertisement everywhere. If you're watching YouTube or listening to Spotify for free, there's advertising there.
Yep.
These are local people, our people.
Yeah, there's a lot of great stuff and a lot of great businesses, and I love our community. I love the Central New York Finger Lakes region. I love it here. So.
Well, thank you so much for joining us. I really appreciate it. Thank you for the advice for people. Thank you for being there for people. And you know, I'm sure. I hope that we can talk again here.
Anytime. Thank you. I'm flattered that you would have me.
We can do a live show.
Watch the Rabbit. What was the name of the movie? I saw it when you put it out.
That Rabbit?
Yeah. I watched
that was like 5 years ago or something, wasn't it?
Yeah, I got. Send me some new stuff if you got.
Yeah, we have a film in Amazon Prime if you have it.
I do have it.
Yeah.
You do?
Yeah. Oh, it's 2 years ago.
How did I miss this?
I don't know. I'll send you a link. It's called Melancholia. It's a short film. I'll send you a link. But we're working on new stuff now. But that one is already in Amazon Prime.
Great, and please keep me posted on the new stuff. And good luck with this podcast. I love it that you're doing this. It's fantastic. And
it was fun. Thank you. I appreciate it. Okay. Okay. So thank you. I'll let you know. We're gonna say something. Yes, we should do a live show at some point.
Okay.
What do you think about that? Why are you doing your show? We can do a live show.
Yeah, I would be down with that.
That'd be pretty cool. But all right, thank you so much. I appreciate it, and I'll talk to you later. Okay.
Sounds good, Mike. Nice to meet you.
Yeah, you too. Thank you.
All right, guys. Peace.